Hello everybody and welcome to the Commentary Man channel. Hopefully you're having a wonderful day or night. And today's video, it's gonna be a controversial one, I guess, because it's about a topic that's been ongoing for a century, and it's just like controversial. Like people don't usually talk about it, but I said to myself, you know what? It's not like I don't know, someone important is going to be watching these videos, so why not just make one? I haven't made a video in like 2 weeks. So today's video we're going to be talking about the Palestine and Israel conflict that's been going on for like a century now, I think, since like 1948 until present day, today, 2022. So let's just get right into it. Okay, to begin with, we're going to be talking about the main reason why they're fighting for this land, or why it's so important, and why there's been a war that's been going on for more than a century that's just been off and on. So to begin with, this area is important to the three major monotheistic religions in the world, which are Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. They all have some sort of significance in that area, or something that happened in that area. It's very important to each of those religions. So Islam, this area is important because in Islam you need to pray towards the Kaaba. I'm sure a lot of people know that. And before the Kaaba was built, there was a place called Masjid al-Aqsa, and that place is in Jerusalem, and that was the place before the Kaaba was built, and people used to pray towards that direction. So it resembled a lot of religious importance, because people used to pray to that area, towards that area, because it was a place where Prophet Muhammad had stopped and was taken up to paradise to meet all the other prophets there. Now he was taken up to the prophets because he was on his pilgrimage, and he stopped there, and he only went up there for a day. Like, he didn't like die and just go to heaven. He went up there for a day and he was brought back down to earth. And that's pretty much the religious importance for Israel, for the Israel-Palestine area for Islam. Now for Christianity, this was the area for the birth of Jesus and the crucifixion. Like, basically all the stuff that happened with Jesus was mostly took place in the Israel-Palestine area. And there's not like much stuff going on with the Christians over there. It's mostly with the Jews and the Muslims. So they're just like there. Like, it's just the stuff that happened there, nobody really interfered with over there. But then the Jews had some important stuff over there as well. Now the Jews did not have much important religious significance in that area. As I was saying, the Jews had no religious significance in that area. So really, they only had one or two events that took place in that area, because their prophet, which was Moses, wasn't really in that area, in that general area. He was more in the African area, like Egypt and those areas. So let's just get into the main conflict now. So the main conflict started back around 1918 or 1920, when the Jews thought that they should be considered like a nation called Zionists, right? Instead of just being a religion, they should have their own place and they should have their own country. So they decided to go to Palestine at the time and just go in there and say, you know what, this is mine now. I'm gonna take this land and it's gonna be called Israel. And so the Palestinians did not like that. And then that was during World War I, and that was when the fall of the Persian Empire, which was the main Arab empire back then. So nothing really happened for the first 30 years. But then in 1948, like the fighting started to really take place then. Now in 1948/1947, um, the French and the British had taken over the neighboring countries of Israel and Palestine, which were like Saudi Arabia, Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, all those countries that had taken them because of the fall of the Persian Empire, so they got to take over those countries for a very small amount of time, not for long. And then, so they decided to make a proposal for both sides, the Israelis and the Palestinians. They gave the Israelis their set of land, and they gave the Palestinians their set of land. And then Jerusalem was in a special area where it was only not only it was for both areas, or for all the Christians, the Jews, and the Palestinians. You can't forget the Christians. They live there as well. So, now this proposal was mainly made because Britain was tired of the Israelis and the Palestinians fighting all the time. So they're like, you know what, just take your land and shut up and stop fighting. But that seemed to not work at all, because they kept on fighting until present day 2022. Now after 1948, between 1948 and 1949, there was the first Palestinian-Israeli war, and the Israelis had won that war, and to punish the Palestinians, they basically went into many Palestinian homes and just kicked them out and then replaced them with Jews, which was very eye-opening. Why would people do that? They would just go to, imagine you just sitting at home right now, and then someone just comes into your home with I don't know, 5 other men, and then they just come in and they just kick you out, and then that home that you used to live in is now theirs, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can only cry about it. That's all you can do. But besides cry about it, there's nothing much that you can do. So I mean, I don't know, I don't know how to feel about it. But this was not a stopping point for the Palestinians. They kept on fighting, and they kept on persevering, and they are still doing that to today. But after the first Arab and Palestinian war, the first Palestinian-Israeli war, this happened. And then after the 1-year war between Palestine and Israel, in 1967, there was a 6-day war, only 6 days. And it was fought between the Arabs, the neighboring Arab countries, and Israel had won. After they had won the war, they were like, you know what? I guess we don't have enough. You know, we're just gonna go up to the Palestinians and just take their land. You know, we don't care anymore. I don't care that those people were literally given that land by the proposal that was made by the British and the French. They just took it, and then for a short amount of time, the Palestinians had no land. They were fully under Israeli control. Everything, Gaza had been taken, Jerusalem had been taken, everything, and even they took parts of Egypt and Syria, which was I don't even know. But that was only for a short amount of time. After the 6-day war, they had the real conflict had started, and it started somewhat. Basically, after the 6-day war and all the stuff that went down, where the Israelis had taken all the land, the Palestinians were like, you know what? We're not gonna just stay quiet. We're gonna have to fight for our land if we want it. So they started to make groups, or extremist groups, that were meant to fight against the Israelis, which were called the Hamas group. And people always mistake Hamas as a place. I believe it is, I'm not sure. But the main thing is that Hamas is a extremist group that is meant to fight against the Israelis. And they were created to to rebel, because like it's just not okay for someone to just come in and take someone else's land and expect them not to do anything about it, except expect them to be like, here, yeah, take our land that we have been that we have had for centuries upon centuries beforehand. So this just kept on going, and it kept on going, and then around the 1980s, the first official like conflict started. So this just kept on going, and it kept on going, and then around the 1980s, the first official like conflict started. And a lot of Palestinians and Israelis died, but in most of these conflicts, more Palestinians die because the Palestinians are at a disadvantage, but they still keep on fighting. Like, you're basically comparing a nation that's pretty broken down because of what's been happening, Palestine, and then a nation that has nukes, literal nukes, against a nation that's been broken down. Like, there's not much they can do about it, but I mean, they kept on fighting, and they are still fighting today. There was, I think, a day or two ago, there was a fight at the mosque, Al-Aqsa, and like more than 150 Palestinians were hurt, and they were just like praying there, like they were not disturbing anyone. And then the Israelis just came in and started flashbanging them and shooting quote-unquote rubber bullets, but those rubber bullets were actually steel bullets, but with very thin rubber coating. So they're basically shooting like real bullets, but with like 5% less power. Like, that doesn't make any sense, and this needs to stop. But besides that, they kept on fighting, and every year after 1980, every 20 years, there would be like a really big conflict. Like, the last conflict was like I believe last year, and before that it was like 10 years ago. But there's always like small conflicts taking place, and always the Palestinians keep on losing, or they lose more people. Like for example, last year, in one of the fights, like 10 Israelis died, but like 75 Palestinians, including like 15 children, died. And I find it surprising that even children that are 10 years old decide to fight. Like, that's really impressive. And I mean, I'm not just saying that to be biased against the Palestinians, but just in general, like, seeing kids actually want freedom and working for freedom is pretty cool. You don't see that usually at all these days. Like, the minimum age to be drafted into the war nowadays is like 18, and some might argue, wow, you're letting little kids basically just go die out there. Well, not necessarily. Like, they don't do much. Like, they might just, like, I don't know, throw a grenade, and that's it. Like, you're thinking, wow, throwing a grenade is not much. No, not really, because most of the Palestinians like shoot the Israelis, and the Israelis shoot back. So like, they're not really doing much. Like, I don't know, but that's just like another topic. But besides that, this war, like, in conclusion, this war is just like a war against people who have been in their country vibing, literally not disturbing anyone else. And then the Jews were just like, you know what, we want this. And this is how it's been. You know, the thing I told you about taking houses, right? I remember back like last year, July, I saw a video of some Jewish people, like just like regular Jewish citizens, just coming up to someone's house, knocking on their door, and then just like grabbing them out of their house and then just going in. Like, I mean, that's not accepted in any country today, and I don't know how any other countries will intervene, because it was mentioned in the video that I used for this video. I'm gonna put their link in the description. It was mentioned that these acts that they're doing is considered illegal in like almost every single country, where you like, it's basically like stealing, but like in a non-obvious way. You're basically stealing someone else's possession, their property, any of that. You're just like taking it. You can't do that. You gotta work for something if you're gonna take it. You can't just like, oh, you know what, I'm just gonna come and take it. No, you can't do that. And so, I mean, I showed a lot of support to the Palestinians, because there is not, like, I can't really support the Israelis. I don't know. It's looking upon the evidence that I've seen, like, Israel has no right to be supported because they just came in and took it. Like, they disturbed the peace that was going on before 1918 and 1917. Literally nothing went on in that area, and the Jewish people didn't have much religious importance in that area either. I mean, if you're Jewish, let me know in the comments if there is, because I don't really know much. I'm going based off of the video that I saw and the article that I read, and there wasn't really much Jewish importance over there. There was only stuff for Islam and Christianity. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there is. And so that's going to be it for the video, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I know this was it was just like really controversial, and I'm scared like anything is gonna happen, but I don't think there will. I mean, I'm just like a small creator trying out something sort of controversial. I mean, everyone makes controversial content here and there, like all the big YouTubers like Penguin Zero and all that. They make controversial stuff, and millions of people see their videos. So I mean, there should not be a problem with it. Hopefully not. If there is, I guess you won't be hearing from me until, like, I don't know, a long time. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Make sure to subscribe, comment down below what you think I should do better next time. Like only if you enjoyed the content, and I will catch you guys in the next video. See ya.